welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Today, we have an incredibly insightful guest who's not just participating in the commercial real estate market, but truly redefining it. I'm thrilled to introduce you to Joe Serafin, founder and broker of the Serafin Real Estate. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you so much, Shelley. It's a pleasure to be on your podcast. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Now, for our listeners, Joe's background is exceptional. With 21 years in the industry and a personal sales volume exceeding 1.3 billion, he's definitely proven a leader in the real estate industry. His firm, Serafin Real Estate, has been ranked #1 in sales volume among 158 commercial brokerages in Loudoun County for 5 consecutive years. And he has consistently won the Best Loudoun Award, which really truly is unique in their hyper-focus as the #1 firm in Virginia for early education property sales, combined with their active development of a proprietary internal and A1 system. That's why I'm so excited to have him. Joe, thank you again for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to it, Shelley. Thanks for having me on.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So, Joe, your firm's success in mile deep, inch wide strategy, particularly in early education property sales, is fascinating. Can you start by just telling our audience a bit about what inspired this very deliberate niche focus and how you built Serafin Real Estate to dominate such a specialized market in North Virginia?
Sure. Yeah. Well, kind of fell into it back, just kind of fell into the that market. Nobody was really covering it here in Northern Virginia. And about 82% of the parents actually both work. You both have white collar jobs and they want to have a family and start a family. And therefore, the kids that they have a need. And so with high household incomes around the area, I mean, Loudoun County and Fairfax County are the top 2 of the wealthiest counties across the United States. So tuition rates are higher than what's the market average in this area. And so it becomes a pretty lucrative business for these operators owning or leasing a commercial childcare center. And nobody was really covering that. So prior to me starting the company, I had done some work in that already. A client of mine that I had no idea how much he actually owned, but was a big developer and investor in the childcare and early education commercial market. He and I did a small land deal, and that built some trust and rapport. And then he was in the process of potentially liquidating and disposing of some portfolios, some triple net childcare buildings. Asked if I wanted to help him on that. And we hit some record numbers that led to, kind of some word getting out there to another center, which it was a different owner, built a relationship with that owner. And he happened to be going overseas to focus on a hotel that he was building and asked if I could list that property for him. And we got the highest price per square foot ever for an owner user vacant childcare center. Now, of course, with that, we have to blast that message out. That's a pretty big success story, which led to more. And then we got creative. Well, how do we find all of the owners of all of these buildings? And, the child care license is regulated by, at the time, it was the Department of Social Services. Now it's the Virginia Department of Education, but they keep the most accurate record of who has an active childcare license. And that's public knowledge. Here's the name, here's the address. So we took all that for our geographic region. We cross-referenced that using some software to find the ownership of the building itself. And then we began direct outreach to the specific owners, developed relationships with them, told them of some successes that we had, used some old school hard mailings. And that led to more listings, and then more listings led to more sales. So now we started the very, very defined niche, and we grew with just having information on these particular transactions and what was happening in the market that was valuable to the operators. At that time, between the 3 counties that we were operating in, there was 999 active commercial education, early education centers. Wow. So 1,000, right? Let's round up to 1,000. We're finding that about 2.17% of those trade per year. Historically, that's 20 units. If we could capture market share of that, average sales price of them is about $5.1 million. that's a pretty good backbone to have in a niche to dominate. Now, luckily, now we capture about 90% of that in Loudoun County because of just the expertise, and now the name's gotten out there. And with the help of SEO and everything else, that was able to launch and become a market leader. And that led us to develop other niches. So, now we have event centers, other triple net retail, even industrial property, private schools, which is a little bit different classification, older age group. But, I truly believe in following kind of, what people who I look up to, Bob Knackel, for example. You have the geographic niche, but also the specialization on the product type, and that goes a long way.
I see. Wow. So it wasn't necessarily originally intentional. It just kind of happened. And then you just realized you took the bull by the horn, so to speak, and really just took, gained most of the market there. So that is an interesting and exciting story. And congratulations on all your wins there, Joe.
Thank
So
you.
when we originally talked, we talked about AI and how you have utilized it in your organization. When you consistently rank as number one, I'm assuming that you are using some form of AI in that genre. Can you share with our audience how you're using that and how it has made a difference in your firm?
Yes, absolutely. And I love it. I mean, AI, you name it, we have an upgraded platform for it. I have been using Claude a lot more now. That seems to be fitting in for our workflow the best. And, at first it was, the normal stuff, helping us write and things like that. But now we have taken a really deep dive into it to help us with some predictive analytics. So, tracking, again, historically, if we're creating a project in Claude that maybe has the last 20 years of history of early education centers, now we're able to, with that help of that backbone of AI, predict, oh, this was a great year, 2016, 2019, what was happening? Well, let's cross-reference that with the population growth. I mean, to give you an example, in 2016, Loudoun County had a huge population. They were building a lot of homes around here. The population was shifting. Leesburg, Virginia was the top population growth in all of the DMV, the Washington, D.C. area, back in 2021. So, and then in 2016, as I mentioned, Loudoun had that pop. It just so happened that Loudoun also had the most childcare centers developed at that time in 2016. So there was a lot of transactions. And then we could get even more granular on that data. How much are interest rates affecting cap rates? Are they? Or is it a capital problem where there's not as much capital coming into the market? So we're using it for obviously the help with numbers. We're utilizing it now on trained models to help us with more accurate broker opinions of value. Mm-hmm. And everything does have a human check to it. So it's not like we just put in a couple pieces of information and it spits it out and that's what we're using. We're still going back, using our internal knowledge, our history, but helping give us that initial analysis is definitely expedite. Time kills all deals, right?
That's
Everybody's
true.
moving 100,000 miles an hour. And if we could stay on pace, it used to take a good week, maybe 2 weeks, to put together a really thorough 50-page broker opinion of value. We're able to do that now in, 48 hours, and it's even better than what it was. The offering memorandums, you asked when, I know in our previous conversation, when I started the company, what opportunities did I see? A lot was in marketing and how these $10 million properties are presented. And you put together packages. And back then it was using PowerPoint or Google Slides and really having to tweak things, having your marketing manager really put together. And that's a big expense. Definitely. Now, I mean, with the help of AI, if you have the correct data and in the system that knows you and you've developed maybe certain projects, brand guidelines, you could use that information that you know is correct and have it put together the marketing package for you. Then it's obviously human checked to make sure it's accurate. But that's a lot quicker than what it used to be. So
most definitely.
Most definitely. AI every day for that
Yeah.
time, ease, efficiency, and forecasting analytics, which ultimately all of this is to help our client, right? Help our seller maximize the sales price. have our landlords understand the market, where the market rates are going. Are they undervalued? Is this something they need to renegotiate the lease with the tenant on that maximizes their value?
That's
So any advice that we can give is ultimately, and everything that we do with AI is ultimately to help the client.
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, the main reason that I also immediately wanted to get your insights on it is because there's a lot of confusion about it. They feel that AI people are wanting to replace the human element, which obviously that is definitely not what you mentioned and how it affected you. Now, you had mentioned also no agent turnover since your founding, which is incredibly rare in the industry. Can you tell me, how does your firm's unique model, particularly in investment proprietary AI and a dedicated director of operations, contribute to agent satisfaction and retention?
Sure. So we could, with again the help of AI and some of our proprietary software that we've built with it, actually function like a firm with 30 to 50 agents. I mean,
Wow.
our sales volume, my goal when I created this company was not to manage a bunch of brokers. I'm not good at it. I don't do it. And really it was to make sure that the people with me was grown organically, never recruited. But my goal now is to make sure everybody that is with me and always has been does well, maximizes their potential, because I want to see them doing well. If they do well, we do well as a company. It's not about the how many brokers do you have with you? How big is the firm? Well, if 80% of them aren't producing, who cares, right? So I want to make
Exactly.
sure everybody's producing, and they do. So it's all, but again, it's all been done organically. We've had several people come or many people come, I should say, that, hey, can we join? Well, if they're not a good fit, we don't have the training protocol to really train them. There's other brokers that are much better at doing that. However, if there is some sort of historical or history, they're coming from maybe the banking industry or something like that, they have a network already, I can definitely help them and guide them on how to maximize that potential. Our model, again, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, we're only Northern Virginia. We're
Okay.
not Maryland, we're not DC. You'll find a lot of brokers around here always have those 3 licenses. I did at one time. We don't, purposely. We're Northern Virginia. Even if it's something comes in Richmond, which is 2 hours away, we refer it out. We refer out a
Wow.
lot of business that doesn't fit into our geographic area. The other one is that product specialization. You come to us and it's a property that we just don't really concentrate on, don't have a lot of experience in. We're going to refer that out, because we're going to say no more than we're going to say yes to taking on a project. Because when we do take it on, you have us all, and you have us fully engaged in it. So it's better, and I think that's actually helped the business. I mean, we
Yeah,
all have 24 hours in a day.
that's right.
And the most important word you could say is no, because if you say yes to everything, you're going to spread yourself too thin. But ultimately, yeah, just with us as being a boutique brokerage, I mean, there's no plans to expand this to be massive in terms of the number of agents. We'll fill a need if we have a need, maybe in a geographic territory. But the ultimate goal is, I mean, is to maximize everybody's potential. And we're like a
Exactly.
family. I mean,
Exactly.
we do things outside of the work environment as well.
Right. I remember we were talking about that. You had planned maybe to add 1 or 2 more brokers in the next 12 months, maybe enabled by AI efficiency. What are some of the biggest challenges that you foresee maybe in scaling your proprietary AI system, or and maybe maintaining that hyper-focused, mile deep, inch wide strategy as you continue to grow and potentially expand your influence in the early education property sales market?
Yeah, well, to answer the question on the challenge with, like, the AI or the proprietary software, right? Somebody has to manage it. And I remember when we first started building a certain system, and I didn't have the clearest idea. And I was talking to a client, he owned a Fortune 500 tech company, and he's like, you have to have your idea crystal clear. This could very well be a $50,000 project, or a $500,000 project, or a $5 million software project. And you're going to be at that 500,000 to 5 million. if you don't have a clear idea, because the architecture is very important. So
Right.
I've gone back to the drawing board many times to make sure that the architecture of what we want to build is actually there. And so that has been a challenge still. I mean, because there's always the big shiny object, and really the challenge is you could go down the rabbit hole very, very easily and explore all these new things. And before you know it, you have 20 subscriptions. You use maybe 3 of them, but you forget about these other that are paying you $20, $50 a month. And so you got to keep track of the budget and all of that as well. The challenges that I see in our mile deep, inch wide kind of strategy is it's all vertical. So if something in terms of a policy that is outside of our control affects that early education market. For example, if the public system were to come out with, or even from a higher level, free childcare for everybody, or how are we now going to maintain that specific niche?
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's also finding other verticals that are going to do well, and that's exploratory, right? But it is challenging. We were exploring another niche, which kind of went in hand with the childcare. At least the zoning of those properties fit other by right uses. But when we analyzed the activity in the market, there wasn't enough activity in every year in that particular industry to really make it worth it. If there's only 1 or 2, 3 properties trading in a specific niche, is that really something you want to divulge some more time with? Again, you got to say no before you say yes. So that, it's the challenge of finding other verticals. It's as defined as that one to go into, which is why we do keep the door open for the industrial properties, even the multifamily and the other ones as well, because there's only so many. I mean, we're not New York City. Loudoun County, I think, has 4,952 commercial property buildings in it. That's not 26,000, right? So there's only so much. But what else can we define ourselves as a niche?
Right.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow, that is incredible. Understood. And that's, I mean, obviously you have your eye on the ball. You clearly are keeping yourself aware of where you are and exactly what you're looking for. So you're clearly already an AI leader in CRE. So looking ahead, where do you see the next frontier for leveraging AI within the Serafin Real Estate?
So it's continuing to build out an operating system, a command center that we are currently doing right now. It's proprietary, but it really is a system that follows our workflow.
Okay.
So this is not an overnight build type project. This is a yearly project. So I think fine tuning that and for a V2 version 2 kind of launch before the end of the year is on the horizon, hopefully. In terms of the AIs getting better every single day, and you have to be almost aware of it on a daily basis in order to keep up with it. So very excited to see. There's so many improvements from, you remember when ChatGPT came out, 2021 maybe, and it had some problems. And I mean, look at it now. It is brilliant in terms of its output, and that's just going to continue to get better. I do think, and this is completely going off the trail here because nobody knows, but you have your tech giants, your Googles, your Microsofts, your Amazons of the world, that they have so much capital to invest in this. I think I just read that Google, with, let's take Anthropic, Claude, I mean, they have investments, 40 billion from Google, they have investments from Microsoft and from Amazon. Very smart. But some of these other, I don't even know how many different AI platforms, they're going to be absorbed by these bigger companies. It's natural that tends to happen. So I think we'll see a lot of continued improvement. I think we'll see these big companies coming and gobbling up these mid-sized, definitely the smaller ones, but even these larger ones that are kind of independent will become a part of the larger platforms.
Well, that is so true. Joe, your insights today have really been absolutely invaluable. Truly a masterclass in building a highly specialized tech-forward commercial real estate brokerage. Now, my company, AI Growth Partners, we do specialize in helping real estate leaders and brokers increase revenue and profitability by acquiring new clients, optimizing their business models, and implementing practical AI customized automation. And given your sharp focus on efficiency and proprietary AI and strategic growth, I believe there could be a strong alignment. I would love to be able to brainstorm with you and have a brief follow-up conversation after this podcast to explore maybe if there's an area that I can learn from or vice versa. Would that be something you'd be open to?
Absolutely. And I think you hit the nail on the head, Shelley, and congratulations to you for your forward thinking on this. Because I'll bring you another challenge personally, right? I could spend a lot of time developing this AI and utilizing and learning about it, but does that really ultimately increase my revenue? No, I need to be out there building the relationships, selling buildings, maximizing our clients' dollars, right? So partnering with somebody like yourself who's very deep in this, that could take some things off my plate to help automate it.
And for our audience, thank you again for joining us. And I know that you gained as many insights to this real estate idea that has separated Joe from the others in his market. And we'll see you next time.
Great. Thank you.